Okay, so we are live with Ravn beta. Actually, we've been live with the beta for a little bit more than a week, but pretty quickly we came into a few issues, especially with the leaderboard that I've been now spending about a week to fix together with some other new features. So in this video, I'm officially going to announce that Ravn beta is now live together with a seasonal leaderboard that's going to run for the next 30 days where you can participate and actually win $100, or we have $100 total in prize pool. So number one on the leaderboard will get $60, number two is gonna get $30, and then number one is gonna get $10. And all three winners is also gonna get 3 months free access to Ravn. So in this video, I'm gonna show you where we are with Ravn, all the features sort of on a high level, and then I'm gonna go into more details about some of the important stuff when using Ravn that can be a little bit confusing for beginners. So let me go over to Ravn. So right now we have 19 on the leaderboards, and we have just been starting. It's gonna end at May 15, and everybody gets 1,000 fake US dollars to run their bots with. So you can run a seasonal bot by clicking deploy strategy, and then you can choose between the seasonal, where it's going to use this $1,000 balance, or you can just run a normal bot where it's going to have its own balance. So you can start these standard normal bots before you do your seasonal, so you can backtest first. You can simulate first your bots, and then when you feel comfortable, you can actually deploy it on the seasonal. Now, when doing the seasonal, there's only one seasonal bot that can be deployed at any one time. And when you want to deploy another one, you have to stop the one that's already running. And this is one of the fixes that are deployed to resolve some of the issues we had where the balance would not be carried over correctly. So the most important thing I want to show today is how to configure your risk, and then some of the new signal nodes that I've been implementing and testing out. So if you go over to your settings over here, what you can do is you can scroll down and you can configure a few different things. First of all, you can configure the bot stop behavior. So if you have pending orders and if you have active positions, you can control what happens when you stop a bot. So both of these is enabled by default. So that means that if you have a pending order or if you have an active order on an existing bot and you didn't choose to stop the bot, it's gonna attempt to exit or cancel those orders. If you don't want that to happen, you can disable these, but I would recommend just keeping these enabled. We also have a bot auto recovery system. So this is still something that I'm dealing with a little bit, where the bots will stop unexpectedly after 2, 3, 4 days, and this should already have been fixed, but now I'm just monitoring because this is caused by most likely out of memory issue. So the way this works is every bot that's deployed is gonna run in a container and Docker, and that is constrained by a memory limit, and that's just to make sure that we don't cause any disruptions to other bots. So this is something I'm monitoring, and what you can do is you can enable this, and this is also enabled by default. So that means that if your bot actually stops unexpectedly, this is gonna attempt to recover it and start it again. So that's important. And then another one here is the risk profile. There's many different things that you can configure, and when you sign up first time in Ravn, you're gonna be prompted to set some of these things. And the most important is, of course, the default stop loss and take profit. If you don't want this, you can just put it to 0. Otherwise, I would suggest to put it not too low, because these markets fluctuate a lot. And another one that I see people using a lot here is the minimum probability and the max probability. So you can limit the bots of the lowest and highest price it's allowed to trade. So if you don't want to trade, very low or very high prices, you can set the limit here. So by default, it's set to 5 cents and 95 cents. That means that it will never buy below or above 5 and 95 cents respectively. It will sell. It's only for buy orders. Another one I see people hitting a lot is the rate limits. So here you can set how many actions the bot can do per minute, per hour, per day. And I see especially the one per day. So this is actually not the default. I already changed it for myself. So as I remember, it's 100 is default per day. So what you can see is sometimes if the bot makes too many actions within a day, it's actually gonna stop and then wait until that rate limit is gone. So you can tweak this as you go along. So this is something I would suggest to go through, but you're also going to be prompted that when you go through the onboarding flow. Now I'm going to show the new nodes that I've added here to Ravn. The main things I want to address here is the active market. So that's something like Bitcoin up and down. I've added two predefined markets here, the 5-minute and 15-minute. I can add more. This is just a quick selection. So if you click this, it's just going to auto-populate the ID, because this is a little bit annoying sometimes to have to manually find this ID. So you can select it by default here. I'm going to expand on this. This is something that's on my to-do to make this easier to select and find markets. But yeah, it takes a while, and there's other things I want to address first. And then you have the rebind before open. And this one just allows you to connect to the market before it starts. So if you want to do some kind of market making and be ready, let's say 5 minutes before the market actually opens, you can set this to 5. What you can also do is, if you want to prevent the bot from trading the very first market, you can enable this one. That means that, let's say that you start the bot on the 5-minute market, and it's just while there's an existing market, which there will always be, right? It's not going to trade the first market. It's going to wait until the next market. So you ensure that you only trade like full complete markets. So that one is enabled by default. And then you can also add entry timing guards that just prevents it from trading within a period. So say that you want the bot to wait at least 1 minute after the market has started, then you can set this. So you don't want to trade the first minute, then you can set this to 1. And if you don't want the bot to trade, let's say the last 1 minute, you can set it to 1. So if I set this for a 5-minute market, it only have 3 minutes to trade. So after the first minute and before the first minute. And again, this only is for the buy orders. So these settings is pretty important, and this is something you can tweak in your strategy. Now, one signal that I've added, which is pretty important and allows us to make more advanced strategies, is the history node. So the history node allows you to compare a signal with its past self, sort of say. So you can say, let's say we take the candle. You want to compare the close price with itself. So what you can do is you can connect this one here like this. And then you can actually connect it with a history like this. Okay, so now I'm going to say the candlestick, you can configure this as you want. So I'm going to say just default 15 second. And then the history here, you can set this. I would suggest to do samples back, especially if you do with the candlesticks. That's the only thing that kind of makes sense here. And you can say one sample back. That means it's going to compare the current candle with one candle back. So the past, one candle. You can also do 2, 3 if that makes sense in your strategy. So doing this, you can actually compare 2 candles with each other, and you can do that with a compare node. So if I could drag this one, that's the current candle, and then I can drag the history candle over here. And you can see here now you can compare the candlestick with the history. And I know that maybe want to change this up a little bit so we can actually see what is the history, but well, it's one sample back here, right? So it's going to be the current candle. So if the current candle is close price is less than the close price previously, one sample back, then we can do something, right? Then you have a true and a false state. You can buy something given these conditions. Now this one also supports the order book. So if you want to compare, for example, the best bid, this could be a minute ago, for example, you can do that. Now, another thing that I've added is the crypto price here. And this one is if you want to do some kind of a strategy with the current, say, Bitcoin price, you can use this node for that. So you have the data source. Currently, it supports Binance and Chainlink. So we have also the price to beat, which is relatively new. And this is, as you can imagine, the price to beat that you will see on Polymarket. And it supports 2 different data sources because Polymarket uses two different data sources. There's Chainlink and Binance. So I think for the 5-minute and 15-minute markets, and I think maybe also the 1-hour market, it's Chainlink. But for the 4-hour markets, and I might be wrong here, it's Binance. So you can choose that depending on the market that you select here. For example, the 5 or 15-minute market. And with that, you can do strategies where you compare it with the crypto price, for example. So if you want to compare these two here, you can do that with the Binance data source compared with the Chainlink price to beat. And then you can do some kind of a strategy if there's a discrepancy between this, and then compare it maybe also to the order book and stuff like that. So those are relatively new, and it's also available here in the beta. And something I'm working with behind the scenes is this weather forecast node. Currently, it doesn't work exactly as I wanted, so I'm still working on this. It is actually available in Ravn, but I would not suggest to use it because it is still not at the standard that I want. But yeah, I mean, basically, it can accept the location. For example, we can take London, and yeah, we can select the city. And we can get the forecast for the city. You can see here we get the forecast. I already did a video about the weather nodes here. So yeah, just keep in mind, I'm still working on this, and hopefully I'm gonna get it to a state where you can actually start to create some really decent strategies with the weather signal. So that's some of the new things in the Ravn beta. And yeah, behind the scenes, I'm still working on, bug fixing and creating new features. And if you want to participate, the signups right now is actually open. I'm going to let them be open for the next 48 hours. So if you go to ravn.gg, which is this one here, you can click the button up here to access Ravn, and from there you can provide your email and you can actually sign up if you want to try out Ravn. You can also join the waitlist if you don't want to participate in the beta testing, but just want to get notified when Ravn launches for early access. You can click this button here and then join the waitlist instead. That's completely up to you. So access right now to Ravn is open for the next 48 hours. So yeah, if you want to participate, just click that button. And yeah, with that said, that's all I have for today. See you at the next video. Bye bye.